A week after the election, and the two major political parties are looking to chart new paths forward in Texas. A resounding win has Republicans looking to expand on their lead, while Democrats are left to regroup now. KXAN's Tom Miller talked with the director of the Texas Politics Project, Jim Henson, about what might come next.
Coming off election night, we saw a resounding win for Greg Abbott. Does he potentially use this as a springboard to run for president?
Well, that's been the talk for a long time, Tom. I think right now we're in a little bit of a holding pattern on that. Anybody who's just gotten reelected, particularly as the discussion of who's going to run nationally unfolds, has a little bit of time to decide. One thing for sure that we do know, it doesn't hurt Governor Abbott to have people talking about it.
Yeah. Much less successful for Democrats. At this point, how do they regroup and make themselves competitive in Texas?
Well, I think the underlying problem here is that the Democrats have so little organizational and financial resource that it makes it hard to know where they go next. In the long term, the state is becoming a bit more competitive over time, but the slope of that curve is very gradual. And so Democrats need to do something, kind of revamp the structure of their party to make them more competitive, recruit better candidates, have a more reliable fundraising base, less reliant on just one person.
Beto ORourke was the top of the ticket, speaking of that one person, and he's now had 3 high-profile losing campaigns. Is this the end of him as a politician?
Well, that's, again, I think that's going to be a little hard to say. Certainly, it's hard to run 3 times as he has, not win, and still stay, on board as a candidate. I think ultimately a lot of people are looking backwards, saying there are people in the distant past that have done that in Democratic politics. I think it's a little harder to keep running until you win in the modern world in this media environment.
And from here, we have the legislative session starting in 2 months. What's going to be on the agenda for Republicans?
Well, I think that's really under active discussion. We have some leading indicators like the campaigns. I think we're assured to see some discussion of property tax reduction or some other mode of tax reduction. A lot of issues that are bubbling under on the kind of developmental economic side, economic incentives, the so-called Chapter 313 subsidies is a real active issue with a lot of mobilization in the business community right now. Infrastructure issues, public schools, always on the agenda to some degree, a lot of that going on. But you've also got pressure from the far right of the Republican Party who want further action on cultural issues that have been very divisive both inside the Republican Party and in the state, things like abortion, LGBTQ rights.
All right, Jim Henson with the Texas Politics Project, thanks for your time.
Great to see you, Tom.